question is, how do startups like us work with and connect and collaborate with big companies?
Great question, Eva. Let's start with Katie. So, Katie, how do that in the collaborative ecosystem that you work with? How can small companies work together with companies like Globe?
Thanks. Hi, Eva. Thank you for the question. And I think one of the things that Rashad said earlier is so true, and we're guilty of it. As Globe is big, sometimes you can be further away from the customers. Of course, we always try to get as near to them as possible, but the ideas are probably also not as innovative. And so we do like partnering with startups. In fact, Globe had put together 917 Ventures to really be able to drive big ideas that will solve everyday problems. And these are largely startups. Actually, they're all startups that we support. There's also Kickstart Ventures, where we are also funding the very good ideas that are supposed to be helping solve problems. So those are, I guess, the more formal ways, but it doesn't have to be through those formal avenues. Even just discussions with the marketing team, with our sales team. We're always on the lookout to see how we can better the lives of our customers. So we do work very closely with 917 Ventures, and we look for things there that we can bring to, let's say, the bigger companies because they're great ideas, but we can talk directly, and that would be great.
You talked about briefly, Katie, about earlier on how you worked with a medium-sized finance company
Yes.
to grow them. How can you also help, I mean, in those terms, how can you help smaller businesses in developing great solutions?
I think so. What's important is really to get to know customers. And what's nice in B2B, unlike when you do it B2C, you get to know them one on one. And not everything is the same for everyone. So for B2B, what we like to do is really try to get to know our customers more individually. But I think another thing that's also important is as we learn about different customers in various industries, what you learn in one customer, in one industry, is actually very applicable to a similar customer there. Of course, you don't take anything proprietary, but insights and learnings, that's something even cross-industry. And sometimes the germ of the idea is there when it's cross-industry. So that's I think the beauty of being able to do business on a B2B level. All of that insight comes in, and then you can make something very interesting from it.
And Rashad, I'm sure, based on all your experience with growing companies, how do small companies interact with the larger companies?
So I'll give you the thing. Even though I've worked for many years in a large company, I stepped outside it while being an employee of the company and created 3 companies from scratch. Okay, and I built it to a certain size and it went back into the big company. So in each case, it started with 1 employee and no dollars. And when I stopped, it was 100 employees and $20 million of revenue. At which stage, I went back to corporate or I started something new. And what I have learned by being both on the big side and the small side is, to Katie's point, you need both. You can't succeed without both. But the way to also think about it is, as much as big companies need the innovation and the talent and the fast moving of the small company, the small company needs the big company, if nothing else, to plug into their ecosystem, to plug into their technology, and to potentially be a potential acquirer. Okay? So one of the things in Silicon Valley, there was a joke, and it was not completely a joke, but it was a joke, where someone basically asked Google, who are your competitors? All these new companies are opening up all over the place. And Google's top person said, this is again a story, so I'm not sure this actually happened, right? Everybody in Silicon Valley works for us, they just don't know it yet. Okay? And what they meant is that anytime they saw something innovative, they would go buy it. Right? And if you actually think about it, after the search engine itself, Google has bought everything else. From ad spend to YouTube to everything they've bought. right? So has Meta. And so what tends to basically happen is big companies see their future growth coming from small companies see their exits in big companies.